What is up, bodyweight exercise fans? Welcome to part 2 of how to do 20 pull-ups and break any calisthenics rep plateau. In part 1, if you haven't seen it, we covered all the nitty-gritty stuff, so reps, sets, training frequency and all of that. I'll include a link at the end of today's video. Make sure you watch that as well. And today, we'll be talking about how to incorporate all of that into a more balanced training approach. We'll talk about mindset. I'll give you some tips there. And we'll also talk about nutrition and supplementation. So that being said, let's get started. Now, personally, I like to train whole body almost every single day, but if that's not the case for you, if you just want to get better at a specific exercise, let's say that exercise are pull-ups, which is the classic example I'm using in this series, then you want to counterbalance that with at least one antagonistic exercise. So the simple example here would be pairing your pull-ups with some push-ups each day, or if you'd like some extra variety, you can also switch day to day from a horizontal push to a decline push and an incline push, doing, for example, push-ups on Monday, dips on Tuesday, and pike push-ups or handstand push-ups if you're more advanced on Wednesday, and repeating that once more for the rest of the week. By the way, you can find an outline of everything that I've been mentioning today, plus some extra examples in the top pinned comment below. So keep that in mind once you finish watching this video. For those who do indeed want to follow a more whole body approach with this plan, then I recommend that you add a pull, push, lower body, and a core exercise every day. So if your focus exercise again are pull-ups, I'd recommend the following blueprint. And other than your focus exercise, if you want to keep things even more balanced for the rest of the movement patterns that I just mentioned, you can also use different angles and variations from day to day. So for example, for your push exercises, you can alternate, as I proposed previously, from push-ups to dips to pike push-ups or handstand push-ups if you're more advanced. For your lower body, you can alternate from a knee dominant exercise like a wall sit on Mondays to an alternative knee dominant exercise like reverse Nordic curls on Tuesdays, or if you prefer something even more dynamic, you can also consider sprints or a plyometric exercise like vertical jumps, and switch to a hip dominant exercise on Wednesdays. For the core, obviously there are a ton of variations that you can do, but I'm a simple guy, I like to focus on my top 2 abdominal exercises, alternating therefore between a hollow body variation and a plank variation. Next, regarding training mindset, there are 2 key concepts that you want to focus on here. These are, in simple words, keeping your practice as easily accessible and as frictionless as possible. So what I mean by these, there are 2 tips that I always give to my trainees that will explain all this. And number 1 is ease of access. So you basically want to always have a door frame pull-up bar at home, or at least a pull-up bar that is easily accessible. This means that you don't want to have your bar, at your kids' room, for example, if you're a family guy, or you don't want to have it in your bedroom if your girlfriend, for example, might be sleeping in on some days and you can get that morning workout you wanted to get. Plus, another thing that makes this a lot more easy as well is having a pull-up bar at your workplace. Now, obviously, this might not be practical for everybody, but if you do have the option, having a pull-up bar at work will make things even easier. And tip number 2 is getting rid of what I like to call dead weight, meaning any excessive fat that you don't really need. For a lot of people, that extra weight will be holding you back. It's especially a problem for whole body weight exercises such as pull-ups. And it's probably the easiest way, quite an indirect way, but definitely one of the easiest ways to increase your pull-ups. Plus, you'll also look better at the end of this training challenge. So combining this workout plan with a fat loss dietary approach might be a great idea for a lot of people. These are 2 goals that complement each other and therefore will keep you even more motivated until you accomplish both. The most annoying and demotivating factor when it comes to accomplishing a rep goal is injury. As we said in part 1, a proper custom tailored warm-up for your targeted exercise is key. I've shared one for pull-ups already, which if you haven't seen, I'll include it above and below. But preventative dietary strategies to support your joints and connective tissues can also be something extra to consider during such a targeted training period, especially if you're over 30 which is the age after which overuse injuries start to be more and more prevalent. Now, the more natural way to make sure that your body is aided when it comes to such problems is to include the following in your weekly diet. Number one are bone broths, especially chicken bone broths. These are high in collagen type 2. Number two are fish and shellfish. These are high in omega-3s, glucosamine sulfate. Number three is curcumin or turmeric, probably the most well-studied natural supplement with more than 12,000 articles out there. Number four is ginger, another decent natural anti-inflammatory. And number five is pineapple, which is rich in bromelain. This seems to reduce inflammation, pain, and swelling in some situations. Now, obviously, there are a ton of foods that I could include here. These are just the top five that are also quite based on solid research. Still, for a lot of us, including all these in our diet will probably not be that practical, to say the least. Now, this is why, although I do recommend that you get as many of these as possible during your weekly nutrition, it's probably a good idea to also supplement. My top three supplements here being the following. Number one, a supplement that combines collagen type 2 with glucosamine sulfate and chondroitin. Next, I recommend one of the following two supplements, or even better, alternating between these two. The first one is fish oil and the second one is curcumin. Now, these have both anti-inflammatory properties, but they have different ingredients and therefore can provide different additional benefits, which is why I recommend alternating between these two. So, what I'll usually do is I'll take my fish oil probably during the winter. During spring, I'll take my curcumin and I'll basically alternate these with every season. Now, I mostly wanted to focus here on joint health because, as we said, injuries can be a big obstacle when it comes to rep goals. But in terms of performance, you can also consider adding creatine monohydrate. Plus, if you don't get enough of it from your diet, you can also consider a protein supplement. Of course, when you're trying new stuff, especially things such as supplements, it's always a good idea to get an opinion from a medical professional. That was all for today. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them below. Lastly, before I go, one final important announcement. My Strong and Lean Over 30 online bootcamp from now on will be available almost all year round. This way, you can attend anytime you want, go through the materials on your own pace. This is a bootcamp that helps you to build a daily short calisthenics routine step by step, focusing on a holistic approach and proper habit formation. Through it, you'll have access to a community of like-minded people. You'll also have access to me as your coach via live chat. Plus, once a week, I have an office hour where you can drop in and you can ask me anything. We can discuss, personal customizations or tackle any problem you might be facing. So there's a link below where you can learn more about that. And until next time, keep on training.